Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I'm going to jump right into it, and I'm going to pick up on a topic I was talking about in the last video, which was a tragedy that happened in the city. Another shooting in the area of Robbins and Bradford Street. And again, the shooting unfortunately resulted into loss of life. Another young person, a 22-year-old woman, ultimately lost her life as a result of that shooting. And it's horrible. Another horrible tragedy. And we've seen so much of this over the past few years. It's awful. And it all seems to be concentrated in certain areas. And I can't tell you the amount of messages that I have received. I'm going to say 20 or 30 messages from people who live in that area asking for help. Some people telling me that they're afraid to even walk their dogs in that area, that they take them to different parks. People who don't let their kids play out in front of their house, again, they take them to other parks in the city. Nobody should have to live like that. And this violence has continued and continued and continued, and it seems to be concentrated, again, in the same areas. People that live in those neighborhoods should not have to live like that, should not have to live in that kind of fear. It's so unacceptable that we haven't put together a real plan to address this. I know during campaign season we heard a lot about hotspot patrolling and, maybe sub-community police station type things. Everyone had different opinions of how they were going to handle this and how they were going to get violence down. The mayor was going to increase patrolling, all sorts of different things we heard, but here we are, and it's still the same. And it just feels like we're ignoring a section of this city why? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. And it hurt to hear or read a lot of those messages, because I can't imagine what it's like to live in that kind of fear all the time. To know that those kind of things are going on outside of your door. And, in the past, 2.5 years, something like that, we've lost 3 young women to gun violence. I mean, we're a small community. This is unacceptable. If this was campaign season, man, you'd have every politician in the world out there saying how they were going to fly in with their cape and fix everything. I don't know. The mayor did another video shortly before that, I think the day or two before that shooting. And I couldn't make it through the whole thing. She talked about, it just started off with how honored she was about her award still. Some award she got for giving these awesome videos or whatever, something like that. The prestigious something award. So I don't know. I don't really know. I'm not trying to pick on her, but it just seems like there's bigger fish to fry. There's so many things going on in the city, so many topics. You have the situation with those in homelessness, the catastrophe that happened by the abrupt closure of the St. Joseph's High School as an emergency temporary COVID shelter. They opened it in April. They closed it in July. Look what happened to our parks, specifically Springside Park. These people were left with nowhere to go. And then it took over the park. You had people in the neighborhood there saying, what's going on? They were shocked when the city allowed porta potties to be brought in, and then there were problems. And of course there would be. There's I've said this repeatedly, there's a segment of that population that need help. They need mental health treatment, substance abuse treatment. And then there's, of course, and I say this in every one, there's another segment of that population that just need help with housing placement, which is something we have a problem with indefinitely in a pandemic. But the St. Joe shelter should have never, ever, ever been closed. And all we kept hearing from our community development director and the mayor herself was that the Diocese of Springfield said that they had to get out of that property by August 1st. I'd like to see an official written statement come out saying that. I've seen it on Facebook. where that has been said. That's not, I just want to see an official statement, because I have some information on that also that I've been holding, but the diocese has allowed them, they're going to reopen it. Now the scheduled reopen date is November 1st. Well, we're already getting cold at night. We have people that are still sleeping outside. Many of them were staying at that shelter. Then when they abruptly closed it, they threw everyone's stuff out. So you have people that are furious. Will they go back after what happened to them? They got kicked out and their belongings thrown out. The whole thing was a disaster. There needs to be more communication on that. Another thing that was talked about, and I got messages a lot about, was the water main break that happened on Hubbard Avenue. And when that water main break happened, it caused a lot of damage to vehicles. Luckily, nobody got hurt. Luckily. People could have been seriously hurt in that. But it did serious damage to vehicles, quite a few vehicles. And we never really heard much more on that. Where does that stand? How much is that costing the city? Is the city's insurance covering all of it? What is happening with that? We just stopped talking about it. So I think it's really important that we get back on that. People have been asking me about that. And speaking of water, another one I hear a lot about is what's going on with the wastewater treatment plant. That was a huge topic of discussion going back a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years now, but that it was going to be a $74 million price tag to fix that, to redo the wastewater treatment plant and get it up to code. Some of our city councilors said we don't need to do that. We don't need to spend that much. But everyone's bills, water bills and sewer bills increased because that price tag of $74 million was built into into their bills. So that was the increase. And it was a large, massive increase in their bills. And what has happened? Where do we stand with that? Because towards the end of right before the election, during the end of the campaign season, the mayor threw out a number where all of a sudden it went from 74 million down to 50 million was the number she threw out at a BCC debate. And then it went into the beginning of this year, and that was still being talked about by some of the councilors. What's going on? Where do we stand with that? And our finance director said, well, we build based on that $74 million, but the actual price is going to be somewhere between 60 and 64 million. So it's really only like a difference of $10 million. It's not that much, that floored me and a lot of people saying that's not that much. $10 million is not that much, but we never heard, where is that? Granted, we're in a global pandemic. I get all that, but you still have to keep trucking along. I mean, these are serious things. Another one, the drought. People have messaged me on that. We got a bunch of rain, 4 to 5 inches, maybe a little more over a course of a week and a half. We're in this level 2 or stage 2 of this drought that we're in, and the mayor talked about it. There was a thing in the paper. It was pushed out there. Where do we stand with that? Where are the restrictions? Are they going to fine people? Have people been getting warnings? We just dropped the ball on that and stopped discussing it. Did that amount of rain, it was significant. Did that put us back into level 1? Or are we still at level 2? Was it not really enough to move us on the dial as far as that goes? But where does that stand? People do want to know, where does that stand? So that was another one that we talked about and then just dropped it. Another one I've been hearing, because this has been pushed, is our shared spaces or shared streets project. And we received or accepted a grant in the amount of $238,826 to do this shared spaces. And we're going to put in parklets in the city. And parklets are basically, you take a parking space like on North Street and you put a little thing in there with a table and a bench and people can eat or whatever. Is that right for our city? I don't know. And then they also talked about bicycle paths and changing like Allen Street to a one-way street and reducing some traffic lanes from 2 lanes down to 1. But again, where are we with all that? What's being talked about? We had a date of October the 9th, which is the end of this week. Where are we with that? is Allen Street going to be one way? Was there a traffic study done on that? Were there traffic studies done on any of this? Or did they just say, somebody wants to give us $240,000, we'll take it? Is that a right? Are these parklets, are they a right fit for the city? Is it something that's going to be used, or is it something that's going to cause a problem? The whole thing is, we mention these things, we don't ever go back to them. I don't know. The only thing I heard that we went back to is the mayor's award. I received an award also. I received the IPT, It's Pittsfield Tonight Anchor of the Year award. And then, I'm blown away by this one, I received an unbelievably, incredibly vibrant, dynamic, transformative, Herculean award for best recipient of an award. So I'm flattered by that. But seriously, there's so many important issues, and people are upset, especially with the violence in the city. People are upset. A lot of people were messaging me, and you can see in open comments saying, our Ward 6 city councilor, where this shooting took place, they haven't heard from her. They've been calling one family in particular, so we've been trying to get in touch with her. She will not return our messages. I even sent her messages in a video through Facebook Messenger. I emailed her directly. Nothing. So, that's an issue too. And it's not picking on the mayor or picking on counselors, but these people that message me, they have true concerns, just like the cafeteria workers did. And I was honored that they contacted me, and I was happy to be a part of getting their message out there, and I was happy with the result on that. So hopefully when that is all said and done, they got their jobs back, but when their contract comes up for the next go around for pay, that's something that needs to be discussed. And I hope that we can maybe hold off on raises for the mayor or executives in the city and get these cafeteria workers maybe just a little bit up above minimum wage, start treating them fairly and paying them what they're worth. So, but anyway, there's so many things. I've tried to touch on all of them, and I know I'm missing a ton of stuff here. So, but these are the ones that I get a lot of messages on. So I will try to find out what I can about the wastewater treatment plant. I will try to find out what I can about the drought and what's going on with these shared spaces. That is supposed to come to a head by the 9th. And the parks is another one I mentioned. And I want to put a group of volunteers together so we can just go up and clean up around the rope tow at Osceola Park. And a lot of people in the Morningside area messaged me about Silver Lake and getting that cleared the way it was a few years ago, because a lot of people use that for fishing and other things, and the city just let it grow in. That's an important part to that part of the city and that community. So I know a lot of people. I used to go up there almost every morning in the summer. I was posting a ton of pictures up there, and I'd run into friends of mine that were up there fishing. So that's another one, but I haven't dropped the ball on that. I'm trying to juggle all those, but we need to get back to that. So I'm going to go back up to Osceola Park, starting with that, and see if the city has taken care of that yet. I was up there the other day, and they hadn't as of yet. If we can put a volunteer group together to do that, and the city will allow us to, let's do that. Let's absolutely do that, because that's not one season's worth of growth. There's trees up around that rope tow that were 8-10 feet in the air. So if that happened in one season, maybe they want to give that land for marijuana growth, because it might be the most prime growing soil in the world. But I will follow through on that. Another thing, and I'm going to cap it off with, is my GoFundMe for the page is up and going. I hate to do it. I hated to do it. But there's things that I have to replace. I've went through so much gear, and I just don't have the resources myself to do it. I don't want to stop doing this, like the things we're doing with the pizzerias right now in Pittsfield, which all that is exclusive to Pittsfield. But I'm at the end of that, I'm going to do free video ads for all of them. I'm going to do it based on how many likes each post got, and that'll be the order that I do these videos. And then we'll move on to other Pittsfield businesses till we go through all of them to help out all of our local businesses, and then build an actual video directory on the It's Pittsfield Tonight website. So, But thank you to the people who have given to the GoFundMe, the people that have asked me where's the link. It's pinned to the top of the page. I'll put it in the comment section of this video. And thank you to everyone who already helped out. It was a huge start. Yesterday was the first day putting it up, and I was overwhelmed by the support. So thank you again to everyone. And that is it for now. I will follow through on as many of these things as possible. Feel free to message me if you have something going on, but I'll have another video out either tomorrow or Thursday. So everyone stay safe and wear your masks, wash your hands, and I'll catch y'all in the next day or two.